Hi everyone. We are going to look at a very interesting rum from Appleton today. Now, for those who've been paying attention, this is the 21st of July, and I noticed the other day that there was a comment on Rum Auctioneer that they had a 25-year-old Jamaican Independence Reserve that they put out 25 years after 1962, which would make it, I think, 1987. Now, I was offered this once many years ago for about $1,000, but at the time I thought that was too expensive and I didn't buy it. And of course, sometime later, somewhere around 2012, the 50-year-old came out, which I think is absolutely one of Appleton Estate's best rums ever made, until some of the failures came out with the pot still stuff. But this one here is interesting for its own right. First of all, it's an incredibly limited 30-year-old. There have only ever been, so far as I'm aware, two 30-year-old issues that Appleton have made. This is one of them. This came out in 2009. There's been another one that came out a few years ago, perhaps 2022, 2023. I've never tried that one, but I don't doubt for a second that it is actually quite good, as this one is. Now, I don't know what exactly the rationale was. At that time when this came out in 2009, you had the 21-year-old was one of the big guns in the stable. The Master Blenders Reserve was another one, which was mostly 21 with a little bit of other stuff. We thought that was pretty much what we were going to see. However, at some point, I guess Joey Spence decided that, nope, we got some barrels running around the place. We can do that here, so we are going to issue a 30-year-old. Now, this came from 6 casks. And those 6 casks were aged, first of all, for 8 years. And then they were all transferred for the next 22 years into Jack Daniels. When they finally consolidated everything, blended the lot, and came out with this 30-year-old, they basically had 1,440 bottles, of which 744, I think it was, went to the United States, 30 went to New Zealand. I have no idea what that was all about and why none went to Australia. Maybe it did. And 156 apparently went to Ontario. Some did actually end up in Calgary, which is where I ended up buying mine for the unconscionable price at the time of $300. And if you think that's bad, the same time in Ontario it was selling for $500, and God knows how much this goes for now on the auction sites. It really is quite exorbitant. The real question is, how good is it? Now, we don't really, aside from the independent bottlers, we don't see estate factories and rum makers produce something this old, because, well, they just don't. They've got their hands full with putting middle-aged stuff out the door. 20 and 25 is about the most you're going to get. 30 is really quite interesting. How is it? I think this thing is really quite spectacular. Not everybody agrees with me on that, but there's just so much going on here that you can't entirely give it up for a lost cause at all. It really is very well made. You get a lot of that initial Appleton signature, not too... It's like the middle beer of the 3 beers, It's not too sharp and it's not too easy. It's not too complex but not too simple. It's not this and not that. It's really quite nice in the middle. So what you're getting out of this is some orange peel in particular, right? A little bit of bananas. You're getting a lot of breakfast spices, allspice. I don't know what you want to call it. It's the sweet stuff like cinnamon, nutmeg, that kind of thing. A little bit of brown sugar, the molasses kind of thing. You are getting some fruits, mostly easygoing stuff, not anything dusky or heavy. Like, this thing isn't squirting estus from every pore. This thing predates that kind of idea of making rums. So basically, it's just really a lot of different fruits all coming together at the same time with all these very interesting smoke and woody flavors and vanillas and spices and what have you. And when you taste it, oh man, that's nice. It's 45% as far as I recall. Is it 45%? It is 45%, right? Which is stronger than most of what Apple does, because of course they're middle market kind of people, and they put 40 to 43% for the most part. This actually tastes really, really good for that 45%. I mean, it is lovely. Again, you're getting a lot of lighter citrus, things like tangerines or oranges, not the sharpness of lemon or lime or anything like that. You are soft. It's being softened by ripe fruits like apricots and plums and cherries and ripe mangoes that aren't quite off, but they aren't young and tart either. There's some yogurt, there's vanilla, there's cinnamon, there's nutmeg. I mean, there is just a lot going on here. But I have to sound a note of caution. There is also a certain amount of tannics involved here, and not everybody likes that. Now, I grew up with the Portmorant distillate, which is a wooden still, so I really don't have a problem with that. But when Chip Dykstra, who's the only other person I know who's ever reviewed this thing at the Rum Howler blog, pretty much in that same year, he said that it was a little bit over oaked, and he didn't care for it that much as a consequence. I didn't actually think so. I thought it was actually quite spectacular, and I still do believe that now, all these years later, because I did a retasting just so that I could get this review out the door. The truth is, though, that with so few bottles in existence and it being as famous as it is, it's very unlikely that we're going to see a bottle come out except on the auction sites now, and God knows how much that's going to cost. £1,000 easy, I think. Is it worth that? That's always something for an individual to come to grips with for him or herself. I wouldn't buy it again. There are several others that I want. Like the Joy was really very good. The Velier collaborations are very good as well. And there is, of course, that 50-year-old, which all these years later still sells for $5,000 and is, I think, one of the better rums that Appleton have made. So, but for what this is, if you do manage to get it, and it does cost under £1,000 or $1,000 or whatever, it's a cautious endorsement, a cautious buy. I have mine, so I don't need to. So, of course, you're always invited to come over and sample mine. Not everybody's going to agree with that, though. A lot of people are going to say that this is simply too expensive and it just can't be justified. And that's perfectly fine. But if you do manage to get a sip, I think you'll really, really like it. And it is a wonderful thing. And you are tasting some history here, right? You're talking about stuff that was laid down in the 1970s. And if for no other reason, just to look into the past of what was being done back then, the sort of taste profile that you were getting, this is absolutely worth a get if you can do so. So I hope you do manage to get a try one of these times. And if you do, please leave me a note and tell me whether you like it or not. I liked it, so hope you do too. Take care. Bye-bye.